Every forbidden religion in history. Mind-blowing truths. Falun Gong, China. Falun Gong, or Falun Dafa, is a spiritual practice combining meditation, slow-moving exercises, and moral teachings based on truthfulness, compassion, and tolerance. It emerged publicly in China in 1992 and quickly gained millions of followers, including government officials, intellectuals, and ordinary citizens. Its teachings emphasize personal improvement, spiritual enlightenment, and ethical living, making it a peaceful and non-political movement. However, by 1999, the Chinese government grew alarmed at Falun Gong's rapid growth, fearing that such a large, organized group could challenge Communist Party authority. In July of that year, the government officially banned Falun Gong. Practitioners faced mass arrests, imprisonment, forced labor, and torture. Temples were destroyed, sacred texts burned, and public gatherings violently suppressed. Despite this extreme persecution, Falun Gong survived underground and spread globally. Organizations in the United States, Europe, and Taiwan have kept the practice alive, raising awareness of human rights abuses in China. Why it was banned? The government feared its size, influence, and independent gatherings could undermine political control. If practicing meditation could put your life at risk, would you still do it? Baha'i faith, Iran. The Baha'i faith began in 19th century Persia, founded by Baha'u'llah, who taught the oneness of God, the unity of all religions, and equality among humans. The faith quickly attracted followers across Iran and beyond. Baha'is emphasize peace, justice, universal education, and humanitarian service. From its early days, the Baha'i community faced persecution. The government considers them heretics, and this intensified after the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Baha'is were systematically excluded from universities, barred from government jobs, imprisoned without trial, and had their properties confiscated. Entire communities were targeted simply for practicing their faith. Despite decades of oppression, Baha'is have maintained resilience. They organize educational programs, social initiatives, and community services worldwide, spreading the message of unity and peace. Why it was banned? Baha'is were seen as heretical because their teachings on religious unity and equality challenged strict Islamic authority. Could you continue learning and working if your religion was banned? Jehovah's Witnesses, Russia and beyond. Jehovah's Witnesses are a Christian-based movement known for door-to-door evangelism, Bible-focused teachings, and strict neutrality in politics and military affairs. Their refusal to bear arms or participate in government activities often put them at odds with authorities. Historically, they were banned in Nazi Germany, facing imprisonment, deportation, and execution for refusing to support the regime. In modern times, countries like Russia, Belarus, and others have labeled Jehovah's Witnesses as extremist, banning their literature and restricting religious gatherings. Followers face harassment, legal persecution, and social ostracism. Despite these dangers, Jehovah's Witnesses maintain a global network of congregations, quietly practicing their faith and supporting one another. Why it was banned? Their refusal to serve in the military or pledge loyalty to the state made governments see them as a threat to national security. Would you stay loyal to your faith even if it meant going to prison? Ahmadiyya Islam, Pakistan. Ahmadi Muslims follow Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, whom they believe to be a prophet after Muhammad. This belief is considered heretical by many mainstream Muslim groups. In Pakistan, Ahmadis are officially declared non-Muslim, and laws prevent them from publicly practicing their faith or referring to themselves as Muslims. They face systematic discrimination, social exclusion, violent attacks, and legal persecution. Schools, mosques, and community centers are frequently targeted, and Ahmadis are often denied employment or educational opportunities. Globally, Ahmadis respond to persecution through humanitarian work, education, and healthcare programs, emphasizing peace, tolerance, and service to humanity. Why it was banned? Their belief in a prophet after Muhammad contradicted mainstream Islamic doctrine, which strictly prohibits any prophet after Muhammad. Could you continue helping others if society treated you as an outcast? Cao Dai, Vietnam. Cao Dai is a unique and colorful syncretic religion founded in Vietnam in 1926. It blends elements of Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism, Islam, and Christianity, aiming to unify all religions and promote peace. Its elaborate temples and ceremonial practices reflect a vision of spiritual harmony and universal love. The Vietnamese government heavily restricted Cao Dai during the 20th century, viewing it as a political threat. Leaders and followers were monitored, prevented from organizing freely, and subjected to legal and social restrictions. Religious activities were limited, and temples were controlled by authorities. Despite these restrictions, Cao Dai survived. Followers maintained traditions, adapted to government oversight, and expanded internationally. Why it was banned? Its large, independent religious organization was seen as a political threat, especially during turbulent times in Vietnam. Would you follow a faith that celebrates all religions, even if it's banned? Scientology, various countries. Scientology is a modern religious movement founded by L. Ron Hubbard in the 1950s, focusing on spiritual growth, self-improvement, and mental clarity through auditing and counseling practices. Some governments, including Germany, Russia, and parts of Europe, have restricted or banned Scientology, labeling it a cult or claiming it poses societal risks. Followers often face legal scrutiny, investigations, and public criticism, with restricted access to certain activities or community programs. Despite these challenges, Scientology maintains an active global presence. Churches, missions, and organizations exist in dozens of countries, with members participating in community and humanitarian initiatives. Why it was banned? Authorities feared Scientology's secretive practices, legal controversies, and potential social influence, labeling it as harmful or exploitative. Would you practice your faith even if governments called it illegal? Unification Church, South Korea, Japan. Founded by Sun Myung Moon in 1954, the Unification Church emphasizes world peace and unification of all religions through faith, family, and moral principles. Its followers are often called Moonies, and the church became highly influential in social and political circles. Governments in South Korea and Japan restricted the church, viewing its mass fundraising, political involvement, and controversial recruitment practices as manipulative or cult-like. Followers faced social backlash and surveillance. Why it was banned? Authorities feared political influence and controversial practices that could destabilize communities. Would you trust a religion that mixes faith with political influence? Falasha, Beta Israel, Ethiopia. The Beta Israel, also called Falasha, are an ancient Jewish community in Ethiopia. For centuries, they faced persecution from Christian rulers and were socially isolated. At times, practicing Judaism openly was forbidden, and members were forced to convert or hide their faith. Many Beta Israel eventually immigrated to Israel, but historically they endured discrimination, violence, and bans on religious practices in their homeland. Why it was banned? Their religious identity conflicted with dominant Christian authorities who sought to enforce religious uniformity. Would you hide your faith for safety or risk every